All right. I'm gonna sit and write for a bit in that and record it. I'm sending you positive energy, whoever listens to this. It may be boring, especially since I'm not sure I'll say what I'm writing. I like Amazon notepads, the yellow ones. I don't want. I got a bunch of them, like finished, and then these ones will be finished soon. You gotta see though, like maybe I'll do a video of it. You gotta see me do the like show it, and like because I perform it well, and it's cool because the timing of everything works really well. And I know I have um, like this is practice basically. It should be good. I'll do one maybe at one point. See if they believe it. A lot of my stuff is very analog. Not even. I felt bad. I felt bad. It was like years ago. I had a lot of insights I think might have actually been useful, and but I got no real support. So I was just like, well, I guess this is just we're just saying the same shit as everyone else, and so what's the point? And it's not constructive to my life, so I just get rid of it and go do something else. But and the impulse comes back again. And it's just the time of year or something. I don't know. People are so negative, like so negative, and I don't mean like down. Like I mean like um, trying to like destroy other people, and you try to compete with them, right? Or like combat them. It's just a waste of time because it just puts you in their position. It's like you just sink down to their level. It's pointless. So you think, oh, if I can point out like how miserable you make it, you'll stop. Because doing that on the broader sphere is like, I mean, how much energy does that take? You have to have like psychopathic confidence And that's the people I'm competing against. People with psychopathic confidence. Not rooted in reality. Not a confidence rooted in direct seeing, but psychopathic confidence. That's not me. It's a fucking LARP. It's a total LARP. You can go far with that kind of confidence. And I mean, everybody has a capacity for rationalization and cope. Everybody. There are some people I know have clairvoyance, but I don't know what it's rooted in. Like nothing I said, I've just said, like it's worth writing down. That's why I didn't write it down, just for clarification. The thing I wrote down is I'm starting a word list of words I like the sound of, basically, for poetry. That's basically what I'm writing down. I have all these thoughts which are like epic, and that, and I entertain them. I have fun with them. It's just like a fiction writer. Yeah, it's a hobby. It's feel like sports. I just watch it pass, watch the interest in it pass, the emotion with it pass. Improving the quality of your experience. I read that someone saying that was the thing. Is improving the quality of your experience. So how do you improve the quality of your experience? Change the world. I guess I wanted to see. I used to shit on all the time, like especially young people who focus on changing the world and not themselves. And then in my quest to change myself, it's almost like I had to learn um, what a useless waste of time that is. You know, and you do get the teachings you need in life. And like, never had that impulse my entire life. You know, I just, well, maybe I did, like deep seated or something. The view that I know better, that people just listen to me, you know. That could be good advice on a narrow scale. Like, if you want to learn how to play a guitar scale, well, there you go. Well, are there people who are qualified then? They read more books. Maybe they thought about it more. Or just have power. That is what it is. Then you have opinions on it. How much energy do you invest into those opinions? I guess I decide based on how somehow beautiful or profound the statement might be. Even if there's a counter opinion that's just as profound and beautiful, I'll put them right next to each other. It's just an argument between two intelligent sides. It just happens to be that I can express both.
you must believe this one because statistically you said it more, or because when you said the thing that disagreed with my opinion, it made me react really strongly.
Yeah.
Do you know the tricks? Do you show the tricks? Can you describe the tricks? Can you drop the tricks?
That's the real trick. Put the fork down. I think that's why I like Padma Baba. Because he wasn't like. It doesn't matter. Like, you could look at him and go, well, his image is like, oh, that doesn't seem true, or there's not evidence in X, Y, Z. And there's actually a lot, quite a bit of evidence about him, but at least his existence. And anyway, like, the stories you tell aren't the man. I always study some of that stuff now. It's in like Tantra and that, and Dzogchen, and yeah, I don't really study a lot of Sutrayana, honestly, or Theravada, or it's just too. Ugh. I hate lists. I hate complex frameworks. And I mean, maybe I wouldn't, but our culture oversaturates us, so. They should at least adapt some sort of, at least the debate system, or the philosophical system has to, and psychological insights that they have. I hope they seep more into our culture. Because they're useful whether you subscribe to it as a religion or not. Maybe it is more of a psychology. But then you get into the deep stuff where you're dealing with the psychology of like anthropomorphization and cultural totems and archetypes and things. And they're in that world too, man. And wow, like respect, you know, like to the entire tradition, to any particular individual. I mean, you know, they say the teachings degenerate. So to any particular individual, I can't say. I don't know. I don't know any teachers personally. Like in any tradition, none. So there's forms of transmission in those schools, which, whatever. But shit you don't say because people just think you're crazy. What's the point? Things you don't, names you don't put on things. Don't be a fucking idiot. Joke about it, sure. Point out its emptiness, why not? Make literary comparisons, of course. Think it's real? What's no. Having narratives too, like that's obvious ones. People are like, oh, that's silly. It's like, well, okay. It's a game that people play who are interested by these kinds of things. They've gotten bored of movies and chit chat. They want to have fun. You get a good teacher then if that's the case. But you know what narratives are stuck in other people's heads. These are like television, social media, obviously, and even untangling it's such a mess because there's so many different uh, groups and different subsets and subcultures that it's just such a clusterfuck. You have to know the individual, maybe even more so than when there was shared narrative. You have to know an individual and be like, okay, what do you think is a problem? Okay, and then see what they say. Now, first of all, if they have anything to say, okay, then there's a problem. Not just the problem they're stating, but that they think there's a problem. Like right off that, so you can go with this just a little bit higher up on level, or say metal, and go, well, I mean that's a problem. You think there's a problem? Why would you think there's a problem? That's assuming they do. If they go to you, well, I don't have a problem. Oh, good. I would never ask. Like I studied a few people a lot, and I just like never asked them questions really, because I didn't have questions for them. And even if I had a question, they'd just wait like a couple minutes, and I didn't have the question anymore. It didn't rack me with uh, curiosity about the universe or something. I never really had questions for teachers. I don't like. How much does this pay? Do you need some? You're looking for someone who can do some work for a few months. Oh, I got to volunteer because it maintains the tradition. Okay, well, I have to pay my fucking bills. So thanks, no. You want to go live? You want to go live in a cabin? Do you need security? Security at like a retreat center? It's a bad sign if you do. Either where you're located or the how you pissed off the locals. You go stick yourself in a cabin for a few years. I saw a guy. He just got out of a 12-year retreat. He was doing a video, but just getting out of a 12-year retreat. And I can't remember what he said about something about monks or something. I mean, and I was saying this earlier. It's like to me, a retreat is like nowadays just a vacation where you don't put any stress on yourself. It's a day off where you leave your phone and your TV off. It's minimal, and even starting there is useful. I remember a guy giving instruction. I think his name's Alex something. I don't know. He's a student, I think, of Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche. And he said to do these like minute meditations where you just and that's probably is useful, especially if you're like a businessman or something. You're just taking a break at your desk and breathing out, just for a minute, just letting it settle, noticing what you've been caught up in or something just at that moment, and then come back. Yeah, okay, but like man, if you're down to where it's just a minute of meditation, you're having to do it in minutes. Then they started looking. I was like, shit, society is the. That's not good. Isn't there a simple argument about that? Like that doesn't seem good. And if I have a simple argument that says that's not good for society or an individual or anything, should I share that? I don't know, that's people's karma. These all seem very simple things, because I'm just full of nonsense. That's all. Well, senses. I also like the Buddhists um, that they have 6 senses. So they include thinking, which is interesting. People say there's only 5. And that's different. So the quality of it is unspeakable. The quality of a thought is unspeakable. You can speak a discursive thought, but the quality of a thought is unspeakable. But when I'm looking at something that's sight, so I can label it. Yeah, if I look at the objects in my room, like it's just light. Everything else coming out of that, right? And all the labels and things. That's a discursiveness that I'm expressing it. But of course, there's the non-discursive aspect of differentiation. The other thing that gets me is the continuity that life can seem like in frames, but factually it's continuous. That's another way of talking about interdependence, I guess. It can seem like you're maybe to greater or lesser degrees, depending on conditions. Always, but can seem stuttered, or it can seem like you're shifting from thing to thing. That shifting focus, that noticeable difference, which is an aspect of our perception, that we actually see things through our noticeable, that there's a least noticeable difference. So then there's a framework, there's a gray area in that in a sense, the way to look at it, where our continuity is. There's a space in our perceptual system where continuity is not, well, theoretically, would not be then experienced. Like, by that idea. Anyway, I could get into that more, but that's just a philosophical point that interests me. But philosophy and psychology and relating experience to well, abstraction philosophies. But ironically, I find it comes more naturally to me when I'm not doing anything, when I don't care, right? When I'm not grasping for some point, some hazy point out there. And that's in so many things. That hazy goal, the notion of a goal, just the impulse towards essentialization. Got interested somewhat in energy work, and what I took that somewhat to mean is to work in a space, a non-discursive space, obviously, of energy and play with your energy movements and how that affects the system and how that causes positive change. You know, like working out. Um, and I think if you have a lot of energy, you know, and are interested in that direction, that's probably a better thing to do with your time than a lot of other things. But there's also that grasping aspect in that would still underlie that. It's just, and it's playing at it on a really deep level then, right? But this is philosophy, obviously. That's not to say that people haven't like defeated that, or that somebody who hasn't this beyond. I don't know what that all that is, because I only have my own first experience. So people could say all kinds of things, and they can do all kinds of things that look very impressive and amazing, and people could tell stories about it. But I don't know what their experience is. Anyway, there's a subtle grasping even in that, right? You know, what's the problem with grasping? It's fucking try hard, man. It's needy try hard bullshit. Even on a deep level. I think it's a trick too. I think once you drop all that stuff, that's when it works. Because, I mean, when you do it accidentally, it just does. So it's trap. How long you get caught in the trap? How long you keep getting caught in the trap, right? Is it shorter and shorter periods of time? Do you need someone to open the bear trap for it? No, life's fun. If you have a positive vibe, it's fun. I am competitive on this, and like, but I don't really think people are bad people. It's just they're in a public sphere, and they have a public persona, you know, and they navigate it. You know, those are facts. Yeah, but I debate in individuals, and so if people have a problem with my behavior, I would hope that they would just say it to me. Either message me here or in a DM or something, I would, because you may find that I'm a lot different to deal with than you expect. So, so just keep that way. If you have some problem with a thing I've said or done, or you have some belief or something, I'm very easy to to talk to. Okay, not that I necessarily want to, or but I will try to be prompt. And certainly anybody with a sort of counter philosophical point. But I would also say this: please wait a bit, like I do. Wait to see if the question goes away, or if the reaction goes away, or if the interpretation changes. You just wait a bit. Because maybe if you have a different view on me, I'm actually helpful. Maybe. Yeah. And I don't want anything. So I like engagement. I don't really like it on a very superficial level. I'm not a chit chat kind of guy, unless you have a really interesting story or you just don't give a fuck. But that's kind of most people you also want to keep somewhat at arm's length. Advice. But to people who follow this too, it's like it may seem weird at times, but I mean, you must want to be challenged to not mute me or run the other way. You And even so, sometimes I say or do things that have a certain power to them in my writing. It doesn't mean I do, right? I'm a very boring, simple guy, and I enjoy it. How I live. The mind is fascinating, but then again, everything is illusion. You don't have to grasp for new content; it's just constantly being provided. I was a '90s kid, right? So my energy is a bit more action films and pro wrestling promos. But I try to translate that by posting Jax Taylor from Vanderpump, which is similar energy. I'm translating. I have pissed people off on the internet who, well, they spend more time on the internet than I do and know better than I do. Um, sorry about that, guys. Apologies. Okay, you know, it was a spell. Okay, it was a spell. How to break a spell. You know how it is. We all know how it is. I could find it mostly to personal one-on-ones. I can find the fucking collateral damage. I think so. That's better than most people do, and anyone listening to this knows that. Man, I could imagine going through all that shit stuck in a foreign fucking country. My God, man, is that better? Does it just take longer to come out of it? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna sit. Okay, my alarm.